Hey guys, welcome back to the channel that gives you the truth with a little bit of bias. The iPhone 16 Pro Max, the latest and greatest from Apple. I've been using this phone for 1 month now and I upgraded from an iPhone 14 Pro Max. I didn't know what I was looking forward to, I didn't know what I was gonna get, but I am here to tell you that do not listen to the noise. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is the best that Apple has to offer, and it's the best for a reason. The first thing that has really impressed me about this phone is the display. Now, as I mentioned, I was coming for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and of course, the 14 Pro Max is no scrub. But the iPhone 16 Pro Max, especially the brightness, the colors, the auto adjustment, I think there's at least 5 to 10 times I can remember in my head where I was sitting in the car and I pulled up my phone and the screen, I just looked at it and I told myself, wow, this phone looks amazing. The clarity, the colors, absolutely amazing. So nowadays, I find myself consuming way more content than I used to, probably an extra 30 minutes to an hour. And it's because the clarity of the screen just makes you want to keep looking. One of my favorite hobbies that I've started is actually the content creation itself, which brings me to my next favorite thing about this phone, and that is the camera. Yes, if you've got an iPhone starting from the 16, 15, maybe even the 14s, you're going to have some good quality camera. But the iPhone 16 Pro Max is a cut above the rest. My favorite feature of the camera of the 16 Pro Max actually works in tandem with the Apple Intelligence, and that happens when you're taking a video. So one of my favorite features about the Apple Intelligence on the iPhone 16 Pro Max is the ability to isolate sounds. So it's gonna take all the background noise, it's gonna cut it out, and voila, I'm in frame. When I tried looking for quality mics, when I used to use the 14 Pro Max, so I actually started maybe 2 weeks before I did the upgrade, I did a couple of videos with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I had to find a wireless mic. I couldn't find anything that had the exact quality that I needed. Now, of course, I was on a bit of a budget because I was just starting out. But if you then compare with when I started using the 16 Pro Max, I haven't needed to buy a mic. If you are a content creator, if you say that you're serious about content, you care about content, it's for your business, it's for your personal brand, you need to get the iPhone 16 Pro or the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This, for the price that you're going to get it, yes, it's not going to be cheap and it's going to be quite steep. But if you compare what you get in this phone versus what you're going to be able to produce, I don't think there's a better value proposition. Let's talk about design. One of my favorite things about this phone is that it finds a sweet spot of it's heavy enough to feel premium, so you don't feel like you're holding plastic or anything a bit cheap. Not to say there's anything wrong with plastic, but it's not titanium. But nonetheless, the titanium is light enough to not be too bulky. So of course, if you've got smaller hands and you'd prefer something smaller, the 16 Pro is definitely a good option. But I think it's a good design. Now, of course, it's glass. And as much as Apple might tell us that, it's the latest technology, as a famous YouTuber, Jerry Rig Everything, always says, glass is glass and glass breaks. So every chance I get, I have a screen protector. If I even sniff a crack, I'm changing it. Now, when it comes to the buttons, I'm going to be honest. They're really nice to have, but I haven't really used them that much. I still have my action button mapped to the volume rocker, so I don't really need to change it, to be honest. And the camera control is a really nice feature to have, but I think I might not have reached that production level where I really need to be changing my EVs and the zooms. But it's a really nice feature to have, I will be honest. But I don't think many of you will be making much use of it. And onto Apple's biggest selling point of this phone, the Apple Intelligence. Now, I'm gonna be honest, you guys are here because you want me to tell you the truth. And here's the truth. 90% of the features you're probably not going to use. When it comes to Apple Intelligence, I am really excited to see where Apple can take it in the next 2 or 3 years. But from a now perspective, I feel like it's more of a, like I said, it's a benefit. It's something nice to have. But to be honest, you can probably live without it. It's not something that you'll find yourself using on a daily basis. Of course, unless you are heavily into, copywriting, or you'll need some of the inbuilt features it really has. But for most of us, Google, ChatGPT, and for DeepSeek, those who like to break barriers, those are really going to be the most applications you're going to use. And if you're holding off on getting the iPhone 16 Pro Max because you're waiting for the next Apple Intelligence features, stop waiting. Don't hold your breath. Go out and get it today. It's probably only going to be 2-3 years time before we really start seeing the features. So maybe the iPhone 18, 19, 20, maybe. But for now, judge this phone for what it is. The performance is great. It will do everything you need it to do. It will blast through it. But the battery life is where the conversation starts. Now, the truth I've realized about battery life is it depends on your usage. So I can take 2 days, for example. My general day from a Monday to Friday, I'm on my phone 24/7 throughout the day. So if my phone is on 100% in the morning, to be honest with you, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I probably need to put it on a charger. But if I take my weekend, I'm barely on my phone. I never use it. This past Sunday, my phone was on 88% in the morning. I took it off the charger at 7:20. And I remember this because I was wild. I took it off the charger at 7:20 in the morning. It was on 88%. By the time I got home at around 6, it was on about 36%, which means it only dropped 50% in the entire day, which is really good. But all throughout the week, I will definitely not finish a day with my phone. But again, that's because of my usage. Now, let's talk about the price. To be honest with you, the price doesn't matter. Just make sure you get a good deal, make sure you get some accessories, some add-ons. But if you're already thinking about the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it means you're willing to pay top dollar. And of course, it is the latest and greatest. Now, maybe the only biggest question is, should you get the higher storage upgrades? And they are a bit expensive. The difference between the 256 to the 512 is anywhere from $200 to $300, depending on your region or where you're buying it. And again, from 512 to a terabyte is the same price. But to be honest, in this day and age, if you are a content creator or you are a heavy user, even if you're just someone who likes the best things, you're going to need to have iCloud either way. You always need to have a backup of your phone. But my honest recommendation, if you're coming from an older iPhone, anything 12, 11, 12, 13, it's no consideration. You must definitely upgrade. The only thing you're asking yourself is, do I want the Pro or do I want the Pro Max? Do I want the 16 Pro, or the Pro Max? But 100%, I will recommend the iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you're coming from the 14 series, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, you're looking to upgrade, you will see a bit of a difference. Maybe not a bit, you will see quite a difference, but it depends on the deal that you're going to get. If maybe you've been using your phone for like 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, your battery health has significantly degraded. I mean, it is a good practice to make sure that every time your battery gets around the 85, 83 region, it's time to upgrade. Yes, I know you can get a new battery, but you must spoil yourself. You work hard. Upgrade the phone. As for me, I'm really enjoying this phone. It was worth the upgrade, and 10 out of 10 times, I'd do it again. As for you, make sure you're subscribed, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a beat, and we'll see you next time.